Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 10 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriot's High School Football Rundown, presented by Cooks and produced by RiverStreet Productions. I'm sports editor Zach Colburn, and I'm joined as always by assistant sports editor Brandon Moree, who will be with us in just a minute to take a closer look at this week's games. All four Wilkes County teams hit the road this past week, and two of them came away with big wins, setting up a potential big showdown in 2 weeks. Brandon's got more of those games over at the big board.
Thanks, Zach. That's right. All four Wilkes County football teams hit the road on Friday night, a change from the week before when all four were at home. Because of that, we only have highlights from one game. Zach was up at Wilkes Central's game in Sparta with the Allegheny Trojans, and he picked up some highlights for us. That young man right there, Tyler Bowles, had a big game rushing the ball. He finished with 126 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. He also had 2 catches for 35 yards. Joe Ray Morrison had a good game running the ball as well. And John Brame is going to find the end zone on the ground here on a little reverse play with the pitch coming from Camden Wyatt, who also had a phenomenal game. He was 7 for 8, nearly perfect passing for 214 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Luke Combs had 1 catch on the night on a screen pass. He took it 81 yards to the house. That was his first catch of the season, so he's got a touchdown, 1 for 1 on his pass to touchdown ratio. That is awesome for Luke. And CJ Williams had 2 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown, as well as the Eagles picked up a big 55-0 win. They are still undefeated in the conference, and so is East Wilkes. We're going to take a look at their stats right now. They had a big matchup with Ashe County, and it was close in the first quarter and at halftime. East Wilkes holding on to a 16-14 lead, but they pulled away in the third quarter with 24 points. Bryce Vestal just 3 for 10 through the air for 42 yards, but he had 127 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on 19 carries. Some big numbers from the other running backs: Devin Couch, Mason Hartley, Damian Reed, all over 100 yards. Devin Couch did so on 6 carries. Mason Hartley had 19 carries. He also had a catch for 7 yards. And Damian had 8 carries, and he had 1 catch for 6 yards. For the Huskies, you can see there that Luke Hudler was 27 for 42 for 279 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. They had a lot of offense, but they turned the ball over 6 times in the game, and that was the key to the Cardinals' win. Okay, the other 2 teams in action in Wilkes County on Friday night were not as lucky. Both West Wilkes and North Wilkes fell to conference opponents on the road. We're going to start by taking a look at the stats from North Wilkes' loss, 31-7 to Starmount. Starmount has really turned things up in the last couple of weeks. They're really dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides, and that's been the key to their success. Peyton Mullins had 14 carries for 141 yards, and Brendan Eads also went over 100 yards for the Rams. Jared Grimes had 122 yards on 30 carries, and he scored the Vikings' lone touchdown in the game. Okay, over in Elkin, West Wilkes traveled down the road, down 268 to square off with the Bucking Elks, and Elkin picked up their first home win since 2015 when they beat North Wilkes in the first week of October. Congratulations to the Elks. They're now 3-6 on the season. Bo Burgess went 14 for 21 through the air for 195 yards and 3 touchdown passes. He also had 6 carries for 16 yards. Hayden Brooks almost had 100 yards rushing. He finished the game with 98. He also had 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. Brody Wable had a career high 138 yards on 8 carries for the Blackhawks. He found the end zone twice with a pair of long runs in the first quarter. Alex Ortiz went 5 for 9 through the air. He also had 70 yards. He is closing in on 1,000 rushing yards for the season. Okay, that is going to do it for me. We don't have a play of the week this week because we had so few highlights to choose from. Next week, that will be a different story, and we cannot wait to get back to it. Just 2 weeks of the regular season remain, and a lot still yet to be decided. That's going to do it for me. Zach, back to you.
Thanks, Brandon. All 4 teams will be back in action this coming Friday as East Wilkes will travel down to Elkin for a renewal of the Yadkin River rivalry. West Wilkes will travel up the mountain to Ashe County. Wilkes Central will be at home against Starmount, and North Wilkes will be at home against Allegheny. Should Wilkes Central and East Wilkes win their games, that'll set up a winner-take-all for the Mountain Valley Athletic Conference Championship in 2 weeks in Ronda. And you can follow all the action from this week's games at our Instagram and Twitter handles at WJP_sports. We're like us on Facebook as well. This has been the Week 10 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriots High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks. We'll see you on Friday night.